Oh no, Sniper, don't take the bait, bro. Don't take the bait. Don't fall for it. The World Ender does get dropped, but the smokes are coming out here. They're trying to find something, but just too much healing coming up from Sniper. He's a big boy, and Lawrence is not. He's quite small. He's doing a whole lot of damage. Can he try and get so here? He's so close.
He has to stealth immediately out of this brush and wouldn't have to play the fight. He's doing it all the same.
Here we go. Cyclone lands on a 3. The fight might have begun. Beautiful scatter of the week coming out from Toast, but Existence coming in with the teleport as well. Lifting a lullaby lands on a 2. Toasty in a bit of trouble. Will get taken down, but he has the wild growth on top of him. Watchstone on the backside. He's still alive. He's still doing damage, but finally Declaring takes him down.
Got that spear wave there. We do see the calling coming out from Sketch, trying to find anything on Azog here. It's going to get him somewhat low, but won't quite find anything. Curtain call does get dropped, though. The flash coming out from Sketch to escape, and so the 3-man body block should keep him alive. Look at that from the back line. Huge cycle coming out, and they grab 3. They grab.
That 3k HP, just trying to see what he can do. They peeled off there, and it has reset. The Vanguard's edge. Leo has gone in.
GSL.
Arrow just going in deep. Samuno trying to see what he can do into the back line. He's cleaning house in the back line, and now it's the solo landers trying to see what they can make happen. G-Song trying to see if he can snip down the HP bars a little further, but they get divided. And Conk jump to get to safety, but he's cut
the
off.
TP flanks
Here, they got the double TP, and it is just going to be them going berserk. The Super Mega Death Rocket doesn't pick up anything. They got Warren over onto the side, and it is Robbie Bob putting on a clinic. Aaron's all on his own, and CLG Town will soon follow as Robbie Bob gets a triple kill.
Taco Gaming looking to press in onto the second hit. Gorka is face tanking and takes down Actor. This is the tank Kog'Maw. Oh my goodness, so much damage, so much durability. Gorka has been officially unlocked here in this game. A triple kill. Could be more as well. Ariandel in a lot of trouble. City going to dash forward. Tomato and the Galio underneath the fountain. They don't want to go for it just yet. Gorka could tank a little bit more. That's an unofficial quadra kill for the Kog'Maw. And the aggression for Supernova was good. But did you ever have the doubt?
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? I mean, if that didn't hype you up, I don't know what will get you there. But I am Echo K, and I'm joined by the one and only Rude Dude with me here today for the Proving Grounds Day number 3. How you feeling, man?
You know what? I'm doing good. We got the back to school vibes going on. I know we're both repping in our own different ways, but we got a great set of games as well ready to go. Elimination Day it is.
Absolutely. I was gonna say, like, I don't wanna scare you, but today the stakes are up there. They're high because, like you said, right? Elimination matches. The loser gets sent packing, and the ones who win will have the dream will stay alive. But we did touch on the theme for the stream theme for today. But I kind of like that one actually. It is end of school, right? And so I gotta ask you, what school you repping?
You know what? I got my blazer on. I went to a school that needed like blazers, ties, full shebang. I got my backpack as well, ready to get carried here today, and hoping to be able to put out a little bit of a good showing on our own end. And now you wanted to ask, but I'm going to flip this one to you because I feel like I already know your answer. And I feel like the people at home already want to know as well. Okay. You were at school. Were you a 1-strap or 2-strap backpack?
Let me answer that question for you.
Okay.
Boom. 1 strap, baby. 1 strap. And you know why? I will tell you exactly why. Not only does it look cool, right? You walk down the hall, you got just the 1 strap. There's a tactical application for it as well, right? You're late to class like me because you oversleep a lot. Sucks to suck, right? And I have a lot of traffic. You get into the classroom, right? You don't want to be standing there, right? You've got like the double strap look. You stand there. You got to like, take it off and sit down. Nah, baby. You got the 1 strap. You slide in and then boom, it comes right off the arm, right on the ground. It's like you've been here the whole time, baby. I'm a 1-strap king. 1-strap king. I understand the 2-strap look, you gotta
professional.
Yeah, very, very professional. That's right. That's why I got the hoodie on here for my school. You got the blazer on. 2 different worlds. That we got the best of both worlds here, baby.
Yes, sir, exactly. There's a world where I got so good at the 2-strap that I could just like flip it off in like a split second as well. I was never like that. I was always that guy that was like 10 minutes early to class.
Let's go. Just cause. Oh my god. Well, this time we are right on time for the stream. However, because we got, I always say this on every guest, but we got some bangers going on. Like we already mentioned, it is elimination matches. So real quickly though, we should take a look at some of the groups. I know we got some graphics prepared here. First of all, we've got Group A and B. Get an idea real quick of how things have been going down. Now, last week, if you were here, you saw that Maryville took out Cincinnati Fear, winning 2-1, and 100 Thieves next took out the Banana Slammers, the DK crew, securing themselves both a spot in this next play. That's going to come a little bit farther down the line, however, and over in Group B, Jake's Kittens and AoE Ginger Turmeric are the two victors, sending Third Party and Team Fish Taco, who we'll be seeing some of later today, down into a lower bracket. So they're going to be going head-to-head in a little bit, but we do still have Group C and D, so Rudu, please take it away on that.
Yeah, now I think over here we saw Group C. It was AoE Sports versus 300. Team Pending versus CLG Faith, giving 6 games of action. Certainly worth the rewatch if you didn't get a chance to catch those live. Lots of interesting picks coming out, particularly from Team Pending. If you want to catch that game, that matchup specifically, definitely worth your time. And then Group D, slightly more one-sided. Both EGP and Taco Gaming able to 2-0 their opponents, and they sent AoE Randoms and Supernova down to the lower bracket. And they're a team that we're going to be featuring a little bit later on in the night.
Yeah, we did touch on what we're going to be looking at. So we do have today's matches now over on our sister stream, right? The Academy boys, they are going to be looking at 300 and CLG and Jake's Kittens and AoE Turmeric. While over here, we've got Team Fish Taco going up against Third Party in the first set of the best of 3s, and then Supernova throwing hands with the AoE Randoms. 2 series I am definitely looking forward to.
Yeah, I really think that this could very well be another 6-game night, honestly, over here. Definitely that second series. I have a lot of expectations for both of those teams to really try and show themselves off and get some games on the board. But I do think as well that outside of just us and our own predictions, there are another set of team that we can flip to. And you know what? So far, I'm lacking a little behind on you, I think. I'm still happy.
I made out of A, bro. I'm new kid on the block, and I got that 100% prediction rate, baby. So you already know what it is. But yeah, looking at the predictions, right, we're already seeing a couple of outliers here with Grapes and Smacks actually looking to see Third Party come out on top, and same with Jake's Kittens going into oh my god, can't even speak. Ginger Turmeric, right? They did put their coinage out on them, taking it away, and actually, it looks to me like Rebel is the only person who said that CLG Faith is going to take the game against 300.
Yep, that is some faith right there. Church of Myra going strong with Rebel. I'm one of the only ones as well that have predicted AoE randoms here as well.
True.
I'm like, and AoE. You know what? I'm either going to be first or I'm going to be last after today.
Damn. Yeah, indeed. So
you got to throw down the gauntlet. You know,
yeah,
when
you got to stand for what you believe in, right? It's like you got the faith in the AoE randoms, hoping there's not going to be any randoms today. So, but we'll get to that because our first match of today is going to be Third Party, right? Going up against the one and only Team Fish Taco. Now, I will say that while both of these teams look very solid, there was a little factor that also kind of swayed my vote towards Team Fish Taco. And that was logo diff, man. I got to say it how it is, bro. Team Fish Taco logo is so cute. It's so adorable.
Yeah, occasionally the logo diff does hit, but I think that these guys also have that slightly more established veteran presence that is sort of carrying us through to thinking, hey, you know what, TFT, maybe they're going to be the team to take this one, right? They've got Alorum up in the top lane who, for the amateur scene, really doesn't need any introduction. Currently, you know, the top laner up against what is going to be, I believe, a substitute for 3P Traffy coming in to play in the top side for them, and this is going to be a nice top play matchup to keep our eyes on in particular, but obviously there's a lot of other players on the board as well.
Yeah, absolutely, right? The Jungle Munchie Limo. Very curious to see how that goes down. But yeah, Toasty and Messages. I feel like, maybe I'm wrong, correct me here, this is going to be one of those matchups we really are going to be needing to keep our eyes on. It's going to get volatile. It's going to get heated. It's going to get dirty.
I really think so. In the last series that these two teams both played, Messages and Toasty didn't have the greatest of times, and I think that this week it's going to be their chance to show off, to step up and say, I was on this team for a reason, I've been picked for a reason. Messages has had a lot of hype coming into the scene, so did Toasty back on Wildcard Aces, so both of these mid laners that didn't quite get to show off in the first week of games now have that chance to show off their potential in this series up against another up-and-coming mid laner who, you know, has that little bit of edge on them.
Yeah, absolutely. And also looking into the bot lane itself, right? We talked about off the cast how we were really, really interested to see Just. We saw some great performances coming out from honestly everyone over at third party when they went up against Jake's Kittens, but especially from just towards the late game, some of those engages my man was putting on the board were absolutely spectacular to watch, even if they weren't able to take the series home.
Yeah, exactly. His Rakan in particular was something that I was particularly impressed by. So keep your eyes on 3P to see if they can get their hands on Rakan, because just with that in his hand, certainly able to make some game-breaking moves. But not to say that Winter as well, the flip side support for Team Fish Taco, is obviously another support and another player in the amateur scene that if you've been here for some time will not need an introduction. A very good engaged player, time and time again able to find those crucial team fights that set up the team to win.
Yeah, also it just hit me while we were going through the rosters, right? I love how we literally kind of showed the duality of man, right? When it comes to our predictions, how I was like, yeah, logo different, I see flashy colors, funny thing, I pick, and you're like, well, I mean, you look at the team, right? You look at the actual history, like what actually matters when you're predicting stuff, and I'm like, yeah, he's got a point, you know.
Not wrong, not wrong. That's that's what I'm here for, right? We're here to hopefully at least show a bit of reasoning behind our thoughts, behind our pickups, for where we think our predictions are going to be going. And I think that honestly, the beauty of this matchup in particular is that we've got our eyes on 3 different areas of the map. I think that the jungle throughout this entire group is something to keep your eyes on. I think that the mid lane as well for these two, for this matchup in particular, is going to be really interesting. And then I think that difference between veterancy of Winter versus Just, who's a newer player to the amateur scene, that difference in styles and what wealth of experience you're going to have could very well prove to be important.
Yeah, I know we're going to get a better chance to touch on it during draft, but just right off the bat, I want to get your ideas on it. If you had to assign some of the hero role here, let's say for third party, first of all, we'll start with them. Who would you give it to? Who's going to be the knight in shining armor for their team? He's like, I got this. Get behind me, boys.
I want it to be messages. You know, this may be a little bit more of the heart speaking, but I've had a bit of a soft spot for messages for a while. Certainly a mid laner that I have a lot of faith in particular. So for me, I think messages could do it. I think that if he can link up with Munchie quite nicely, then that's a situation where he can be a bit of a carry force and then be that hero for 3P to take them through to the next round of the bracket.
Yeah, absolutely. You feel the same way as well for Team Fish Taco, right? In the mid lane, you also look in there. Because, I mean, that is, as we were saying, right, the matchup we're going to be looking at the most. Or is it something different there?
No, yeah, I'll give it over to Toasty as well. I really want both of these mid laners to step up. Obviously, they had their first showings up against incredibly well-versed mid laners and didn't quite get to show up what their new skills can perform with. So this time round, up against, like I say, 2 new mid laners coming out at one another, had like 1 or 2 splits between the 2 of them. So this is that time for them to go off and really make a bit of a statement.
Yeah, absolutely. I also give you the Toasty pick, definitely. I will say we did touch on Just, and I also feel like it is quite the injustice.
Okay.
But I feel like always support is just such a role where it's kind of like, yeah, I mean, he was there, right? You look at the, you know, he's like 0-2 and like 36 or whatever, and like they never get the love that they deserve. And we talked about how we want to see Just perform, and so this is definitely the time and the place where he can step up and get to it, get some work done. As I do believe draft started, but I think it's just a little bit longer until we get into it.
Okay, we're just going to make sure that everything's set up, everything's ready, so that we can get the, you know, competitive integrity and bring you guys the game, the draft, immediately ready to go. I am kind of waiting for that draft as well, because I did speak to 3P a little bit earlier. Taki, at that point of contact, was sort of giving me a few little leaks, few little snippets, so I don't want to give anything away just in case, but if something does come up, I'm going to be quite intrigued, particularly with their new top laner. Traffy has brought a new set of potential bans to the fold.
Yeah, honestly, like I feel like we kind of just skipped over that, right? Like they brought a new guy into the fold for this game itself. That already kind of speaks volumes. Obviously, it probably wasn't, you know, necessarily the optimal choice that they wanted to, but they were like, hey, you know what? Bring them in. We ain't scared. We ain't FF in this one. Like it's gonna be third party diff around here.
That's their hope. That's their hope. And with Traffy coming in, it does mean that obviously Dinka is no longer on the roster for this series. So I think that he's got a fairly decent set of shoes to try and fill as well, because Dinka was sort of the I'll call it the more veteran presence on this 3P roster. It's certainly been around a few splits, and we're looking at the rest of the team don't quite have that same experience with them. So this is a lot of new players coming together to really try and showcase their abilities. And even if they don't have the best showing, they've always got to try and put their best foot forward, show to other teams as well, to more teams, that these are guys to be taken seriously, and really try and put down a bit of a game.
All right, yeah, we're just Prod's telling us, yeah, it's still gonna be a little bit, but I do want to get your thoughts on this while we're still here, right? Obviously, we'll touch on all of this way more in the draft, but we did kind of talk about how, since mid is going to be this pristine matchup, do you also feel like the jungle pathing and just in general, the plays we're going to be seeing coming out from the likes of Munchie, and now the other one slips my name. Oh my God, Limo, excuse me. Yeah, Limo. Do you think that it's going to kind of resemble that in how they play?
Yeah, I think that if we call mid lane our primary matchup, jungle is certainly going to be the one to follow afterwards. With Limo, certainly also had a lot of hype coming into the season, coming into the series as well. His early game pathing as well has been definitely something to write home about. Managed to find a couple of unique ganks, particularly onto AoE Ginger Turmeric in there. First bout in their first series, so there's always that world where we can see Limo make those early plays, get that early pathing, and generate some unique advantages, ones that potentially weren't anticipated by 3P. And then on the flip side, I think that Munchie, he has that cognizance, that capability to potentially say, hey, you know what, guys, you kind of have to be careful right now. Limo's going to be here, he's going to be doing this, he's going to be doing that, X and Y type pathings. I really think that, like I say, if mid lane's our number one, then keep your eyes on Limo and Munchie through the early game to see how it is Toasty and Messages either facilitate that or get facilitated themselves. I think that both of these guys are going to have to carry.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like we also have kind of been seeing, as these games have been going on leading up to this point, that Limo especially, or just in general, all of Team Fish Taco, are really good at punishing just mispositioning, especially Limo, obviously in the jungle. It's easiest to do that. And he seems to always kind of, he's always there where you don't want him to be, basically.
Yeah, exactly. The sort of the worst place at the worst time if you're the enemy, the best place at the best time on the flip side. But I think we're going ready. We're here. We have a draft, everybody. Game number one, ready to go. And the bans list is a little bit off. We'll try and get that fixed for you ASAP. But you can see Rengar already. Now, I was going to throw this one out. This was one of those bans I was alluding to. I expect Rengar to be 100% ban rate up against 3P in this series and any future series they play with Traffy. It's a flex pick between top and jungle. So, that's one that we're going to see taken away every time.
Yeah, absolutely. And we see third party taking away the Senna and the Lucian as well. Want to get rid of those Senna, obviously being a very staple bot pick at the moment. Lucian, a lot of flex potential in that pick as well. So it's good to just get that off the board.
Yeah, make sure that you're not getting bot lane dumpstered. I think that's certainly a way to go about things. And with those bans starting to set up, it really is going to head us towards a certainly more slower paced bot lane style, particularly right with no Lucian, with no Senna, who really has shot to prevalence. That Senna ban also takes away the things like a Tom Kench, like a Senna Scion bot lane. There's a few different adaptations that all get removed when you take away the Senna, and we are going to start to probably default back to those hyper carries or utility style ADCs, either the Kog'Maw Twitch or the Ashen Varus.
Yeah, I'm gonna put you on the spot just a teeny little bit from that big brain of yours, right? Do you think you can predict what the other bands were that came out actually from Team Fish Taco? Since we haven't seen them yet, what do you think?
So they're red side. I'll go with they banned Wukong because that champion is getting banned everywhere. So red side Wukong ban seems my highest chance. And then I'll also go with Gwen because I think Gwen's up there as well. Not necessarily a flex pick, but Gwen top lane has had its fair share of bans going at it. So I'll go Gwen Wukong. They're my two.
Yeah, absolutely. Ooh.
I got
I mean,
kinda. I got one on the other side.
Wrong side, but the Gwen, right? It's just a different side, and the Wukong actually getting picked here as the B1 from third party as it was left open, because we see that the Lilia and the Zac were actually taken away from Team Fish Taco. Are we surprised about that at all?
No, I think that Lilia incredibly strong, and then also I guess to dot the I's and cross the T's here, Zach, another one of Traffy's big picks in the top lane, weirdly enough. So not surprised to see that one get taken away, but the Karthus, as you mentioned, certainly a little bit unique here, and with the Tristana locked in as well, you may think that this Karthus can't go into the bot lane, but I wouldn't put it out of the realms of possibility that Toasty takes this Tristana into the mid lane if there's a particularly good matchup for it. But at the minute, I don't think there is. I think that 3P so far have done a very good job to get that Wukong early. Talia, if they want to flex this into the mid lane, sort of shuts down the notion of a Tristana mid lane, because if you try and jump through that Unraveled Earth, you are just going to die. There's no other way about it. So you kind of make that Tristana go bot lane, which kind of forces the Karthus into either mid or jungle, and either way, you definitely want that jungle Karthus to power clear.
And just in general, it kind of feels like both 3P and TFT are both holding those cards very close to the chest right now. I feel like Urgot is kind of the first pick that we're seeing coming out where we know absolute certain, or maybe the Ezreal as well, where they're going, right? With the Wukong, you've got the Talia, both very high flex potential, can go top, can go jungle, can go mid, etc. And same with the Karthus and Tristana. So it's nice to see that they're really kind of, they're playing the big brain game with them right now. It's like, oh, where are we going? What you going to pick?
Yeah, exactly. It makes it difficult to try and ban out on this second phase, right? You don't want to head into too many solo lane or jungle bans just in case, that role has been picked. That's why you see Team Fish Taco, I expect, continue to double ban support and then take away good Ezreal lanes, right? The Ezreal Karma, certainly one of them. Yumi may well hit the ban table as well. Pairs quite nicely with the Wukong. And then they can take themselves a nice aggressive support in the bot lane to potentially facilitate Sonar to be that carry to go, for a fairly decent engagement early on. Ezreal certainly not the greatest AD carry, a very real opportunity to try and punish early on.
Yeah, and we're seeing the same kind of thing coming out from 3P as well, right? The Nautilus ban being, taking Nautilus off the table here for Team Fish Tacos, because just in case, if that Tristana does end up going into that bot lane, that's one of those picks that you do not want to see, or you're in for a bit of a bad time. And we actually see the Ornn coming out, assuming that top hasn't been picked in, and probably that they're going to send a Talia mid and the Wukong top, the Wukong into the jungle. Gonna have to see if they're right or not.
Yeah, it's a really big guessing game on both sides, because I still have... it's still 50-50 for me if Toasty picks this Tristana into the mid lane. I expect them to just take their support here and then hide that flex until 5, just so that they've got, full information on where they're going to send the Tristana, who they're going to pair it up with down in the bot lane. So you do want a support that pairs nicely with a Tristana. Lulu may not be your traditional necessary go-to, but it actually does quite well. Tristana in the late game, one of the highest range of any marksman in the game, so you do have that hyper carry status once you get to level 18. Getting there, you can go through some dips, some troughs, because you do have a very strong early, and then in that mid game, potentially have an issue if you've not got far enough ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like with that Lulu pick, I feel like we've solidified kind of that it's going to be that Tristana Lulu into the bot lane here. I'd be very surprised if something different comes about. But yeah, you never know. You never know.
There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff that pairs better with it than a Lulu, right? We still got those hyper carries. Particularly Karthus himself loves being the solo AP threat on a team, so really no concern if they pick triple ADs in their lanes. So there's a lot of options, a lot of choices still, and now we get 3P finally locking in and sort of assigning their roles necessarily.
Yeah. The
Rakan picked up for Just, which we talked about coming into the series, going to be a pretty big pickup for him. Those big engages certainly not unknown to him.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, yeah, the Mordekaiser pick coming out, Traffy is just going to be like, hey, QSS tax, you must pay it if you wish to survive. And the Jinx coming out. Okay, so it might just indeed be Tristana.
Still hover.
Yeah, I was about to say they're hovering.
Yeah.
I'm known to get baited, so I'm not. I will hold my tongue for now.
We pause our champs and we wait to see what TFT lock in. It is indeed the Jinx. So a change up for Sonar. Last week played 2 games of Kog'Maw, but this week going to be opting into the Lulu Jinx lane. And then, like I say, that solidifies Toasty with the Tristana in the mid lane. Wise of them to hold their flex till final answer or until the final pick. I do think it's going to be quite difficult for the capitalization of Toasty to try and bully messages out if it is the Talia in the mid lane as we anticipate, just because, like I say, that Unraveled Earth makes it so difficult to get any rocket jumps going unless you're ahead of the curve, and you can go for that level 2 all in while Talia still only has that Q.
Yeah, and just in general, I feel like third party has a much larger advantage when it comes to kind of starting these fights and getting into your face, where you've got the Mordekaiser who, if need be, can just single out a target. You've got just on that Rakan who literally with the quickness is going to want to get in your face, charm everyone up. You've got Traffy on the Wukong, right? The Cyclone is absolutely huge for engagements, while on Team Fish Tacos you really only have Alorm on the Urgot.
Yeah. And you know, even at that, right, the Urgot engage is not something that we're particularly known to seeing. This is definitely two different styles of composition. I think it's a good time to sort of try and break those down, because Team Fish Taco have got a pretty much late game Exodia bot side here with Lulu Jinx plus a Tristana and a Karthus in that late game, where everybody's going to be hesitant to try and build up magic resistance because there's 3 AD damage sources from Team Fish Taco, but then you've got this massive presence of Lemo's Karthus. You've then also got the flip side of 3P, where they just want to go in, right? They've got the Weaver's Wall, they've got the engagement from Wukong Cyclone, you've got the Rakan as well to set everything up. There really is a lot of tools for 3P to get fights going, where Team Fish Taco, they want to absorb those engages as best as possible and just try and sit back and sort of mitigate as many engages as possible, play front to back, get that first reset onto Sonar, let Toasty get a couple of resets with the rocket jump and potentially find some unique angles back into the backline and try and assassinate somebody on 3P.
Yeah. Do you feel like just seeing the picks coming out now, is this the narrative that we were talking about, that we're going to, odds are we'll see kind of this mid-jungle synergy from both teams? Do you think it's going to be staying the same, or is it going to be changing now that we've seen kind of the composition of both teams?
I think whenever you pick a Karthus, you're quite happy to not really do anything. And I expect that Lemo is just going to be power clearing consistently. The thing that we may well see, just because of how fast Karthus plays, is that potential invade to try and steal away a camp or two from Munchie, which then relies on Toasty, Alorim, having that early game presence to push their wave in. For a Tristana, typically you'd say that's not too difficult, but up against a Talia, we may have to see some battling for that control of the wave. Bot lane, it shouldn't really be an issue. Jinx in all bot lanes pretty much establishes priority.
Yeah, absolutely. No real level 1 shenanigans coming out just yet. We got the usual 5-man setup here. We see the ward actually coming out from Winter. Yeah, double ward actually in that bot rush coming out from both of the supports. So pretty standard as to be expected.
Yeah, just making sure, I suppose, at present that there are no level 1 early engagements. It is going to be a good time to keep our eyes on the junglers as to where they start, where they're pathing to, which strong sides they're trying to favour. Wukong certainly can go for a couple more early engagements as opposed to that Karthus, interestingly enough. We have got a few summoner spells I want to touch on quickly, right?
Okay,
Sonar with the Ghost is something that we don't often see from ADCs, but I think is really underutilized. And I think in a game like this, where mobility is going to be so crucial for the Jinx, Ghost is certainly going to have a lot of power. And also, this may seem like a weird one, but Lemo having Flash, you will sometimes see Karthus opt into the Exhaust, into something a little bit more combat oriented, because they don't particularly care if they die when they're up against such dive.
Yeah, absolutely. Very true. My God, Sonar, if he gets that one reset, he's going to be sprinting on the Rift. That's going to be really interesting to see, but only time will tell. Well, the wards coming down, though, are going to be giving some good information over to Team Fish Taco that obviously you have Munchie starting off in that top side and will slowly but surely be pathing his way down. So we're going to have to wait and see if any kind of opportunities arise. And already, that level 2 coming out from Toasty. Got the bomb on him. A lot of damage coming out. However, messages will not go out without a fight. And a bit of trade coming out.
Yeah, just Stings level 2 on the end there. Messages comes out with a slightly worse off trade, but the level 2 certainly saving it a little bit. You do also get to see a little bit of hesitancy by Toasty to see quite why he doesn't want to jump through the Unraveled Earth, right? He did get the bomb proc and the reset on the W, but doesn't want to jump through that without good cause. And worth noting as well, the keystone from Toasty, right? If that's Hail of Blades Tristana, then that's a completely different story. That level 2 all-in may have looked completely different, but this is a lethal tempo Tristana. This is certainly more geared toward that late game, where we're anticipating multiple sets of auto attacks to come out, and getting those resets isn't necessarily as important as it is just a DPS down a front line.
Yeah, and I mean, understandably so, right? With the Mordekaiser, with the Wukong, those are going to be some targets that, as the game progresses, especially with, for example, the Wukong probably seeing the Death Dance coming out, it's going to be absolutely tanky. It's going to be hard to take them down, so you do want to be able to just have that consistent damage coming out. As we throw it to us real quick, you get to see our beautiful faces for a little bit longer, because a little bit of technical issues, so we're just waiting on that. I'm going to ask you something now, all right? And hey, let's see if you get this. Can you tell me where first blood is going to occur?
You know what? I think it'll be in the river. Is that a cop-out answer to say it's in a river? I think it'll be around a jungle fight. I anticipate a fairly slow early game between this matchup specifically. With just, you know, Ezreal as a bot laner, you never really want to skirmish too early on. Yeah. I think that the Tristana is never going to be able to find access to messages, and in that top lane, Alorum actually has that chance to try and find a solo kill up against, I suppose, a melee laner. You can see already a little bit of dominance being put out, but for the most part, I imagine early scuffles will be in this river.
Yeah. Already. Oh, well, we saw a little taste of the river there, action. They were slowly but surely moving down as we come back to us, and we're looking to just fix it. Honestly, you know, we want to give you guys that pristine game experience, and so sometimes that takes a little bit longer. We're building the hype. That's what we're doing. This is all intentional. Obviously, it's Prod never does anything wrong. It's always Prod div, so you know how it'll be.
Yeah, they gotta make sure that we've got the best viewing experience for you, and it does also build up that tension toward the first blood that you alluded to. Don't know where it's gonna come through just yet, but the slower the early game goes, the typically bigger the payout for that first blood is gonna be. Sometimes when you get first blood very early on, it's just a missed wave and potentially a bit of a lane difficulty. But if this game goes later and later, that first blood can start to mean dragon, can start to mean first turret as opposed to the first plate of the game, and then all of those snowball type scenarios really do come and start to be a little bit more entertaining, a bit more valuable to that first blood. I think that, like we say, with those junglers quite likely to have to just power clear their way through, a lot of the onus is going to be on Munchie of 3P to try and make those plays early on, because Karthus is not going to want to do that. He's just going to want to hit that level 6 marker about as soon as possible and then try and impact the lanes with the Requiem.
Yeah, and I feel like, well, I should ask you this, obviously, with these junglers more wanting to kind of power clear, do you think we're going to be seeing a lot of emphasis on the early objectives, like the first dragon, for example, and the Rift Herald as well? Or do you think we're more just kind of, that'll only be taken if it's an opportune moment, like a fight just went one of the team's ways, and hold on thought, because the fight's going in the way of Toasty right now. So much damage coming out. Do you see the reset, though, from the jump, the flash coming out from messages to escape, and that's going to be flashed down.
Yeah, you can see lack of mana for messages means it's hard for them to trade back and get that kill or stop that kill really from being threatened. Good to see the roam timer come down though. You know that Messages is going there to try and shadow his jungler, allow Munchie to collect on that Scuttle Crab down on the bot side. Doesn't mean that Lemo's not able to reset, go back out onto the map, and is going to be able to secure that crab in the top lane instead. And then it's going to be fairly where he goes after that crab is going to be indicative of how they want to play this out. Have that opportunity to try and steal away second Gromp spawn if you have Prio in the mid lane and Prio in the top lane. That is a very real possibility. Or if Lemo just wants to head back to his top side Krugs.
Yeah. Overall, see the pressure slowly but surely mounting over to this bot lane here. Sonar Winter can't really move at the moment. A lot of trades coming out though. Sonar, especially using that lethal tempo and those rockets to dish quite a bit of damage out. Trying to look for something. We might have found it. Never mind. The flash coming out from Sonar did get ignited as well, but nothing quite going to come out of that one just yet.
Okay, and overall then, fairly heavy trading on the bot side. Couple summoner spells either way, but 3P do come out on top. And with Munchie making his way up to this top side, Alorum should be aware that the Wukong is on the top side of the map. Doesn't have anything to do in the bot side for the start off, but with that wave pushing on forward, doesn't look like Munchie wants to waste too much time.
Yeah, I think that one minion pushed up just a bit too far forward and actually spotted Munchie out as he was looking to go into that first brush. That's something that in German we call an Ehrenmann, just an absolute legend, an absolute unit. As Munchie does get spotted out here though by the ward though. Oh, that's the worst feeling in the world when the sweeper runs out, and so you just have to watch as the ward disappears, and also look at the health bar of Traffy disappearing there. Alorum getting a very favorable trade there.
Yeah, and you can see that Alorum not getting baited in, recognizing that there is actually no kill threat there, or that you'd have to, you know, waste a significant amount of time. With the W shield from Mordekaiser, didn't want to go all in for that. But what is happening so far from Team Fish Taco is a lot of vision control around this jungler. Munchie hasn't really been able to get away with anything that hasn't been known by Team Fish Taco. You can already see that Lemo's completed his second clear of the jungle, where Munchie, just by spending, you know, 5-10 seconds up in that top side, is now 2 camps behind, and Lemo has that extra bit of time out on the map to either generate an advantage for his lanes, where Munchie can't get CS himself, and that sort of forces a little bit of a decline in the Wukong's priority in the match.
Yeah, definitely. Wukong, though, with that Sheen, means his crushing blows are going to hurt even more. Lemo maybe looking to actually start up the drag here, looking to pull it out. We see the rotate coming through as well from Winter and Sonar, and so actually a little surprised. I thought for sure that we'd see a bit more passive play coming out, but Limo's like, let me show you how to play Karthus.
He got nothing to do. All his camps are down. He'll take the dragon. He's going to base. He's going to go up to top side now and complete his top to bot clear once again with the full 6 camps open to him. Looks like it's just going to be a little help pushing in this bot side. Make sure that there is nothing dangerous for Sonar and Winter, and provided they can get this in, they'll be okay.
Yeah, the wall of pain being dropped there, but look at that, the flash knock-up as well, and Sonar being caught out. You don't have cleanse, you only have ghost, and you're not outrunning. Your fate is gonna go down there. So that will be the first blood. Close to River, in the bot lane, almost there. You know,
yeah, that's bot lane, unfortunately. Unfortunately for me.
I was going to give it to you, but hey.
Nah, that is bot lane. We're true to the ways of the Rift, and as are 3P true to finding advantages over summoner spells. Sonar, without that flash that they lost in the 2 versus 2, really well capitalized by 3P to just say, hey, you know what, this Jinx has no flash. They really want to force this wave under the turret, and Munchie's there to prevent it from happening. Great stuff by the 3P jungler, and just, once again, on this Rakan, need to keep saying it because this is how it looks like 3P are going to look to generate their leads as well as in the early game, potentially all the way through the game as well.
Yeah, and this just really shows you how, like, events that happened so long ago can have such drastic consequences. We talked about when Sonar had to use his flash to get under his turret, right, during that initial engage, and because of that, he's not able to flash away from just knock-up, and Munchie didn't even need Cyclone this time around. They just straight up get all on top of him. Nothing that Winter can do, neither Limo as well, because they already wasted the Wall of Pain to hold off that Tri-Brush, and they just have to watch him die.
Okay, Toasty able to jump. Oh no.
Speaking of watching die, there's that Cyclone we talked about. Ignite coming out as well. Wall of Pain does get dropped, and so they're looking to find something onto Munchie or Toasty. Dealing a lot of damage, but not quite going to find enough. We see the Super Mega Death Rocket come out from Sonar as well, but overall, the Requiem will be enough to kill just, I don't think. Nah, it will not indeed. Unless, of course, Alarm could hit something here, but into the Death Realm he goes. Oh, Trappy. Gonna pop that shield, and so once again we'll get out of that one safely. Actually, though, Alarm, yo, that was huge. Jumps into him, hits him with the ult, and pulls him into the meat grinder.
Nicely done by Team Fish Taco, right? We're looking at the 1v1 and thinking, okay, he's not dying in that one, but as soon as he pops back out, there are some Flame Chompers waiting. There's an ulti from the Alorum top lane as well to just secure that kill, and Team Fish Tacos bite back. Getting another kill, or getting their first kill this time of the series. They're going to translate this one into a Rift Herald. So overall, whilst those kills are the same, the objective game certainly going the way of Team Fish Tacos to open up the match.
Yeah, if they keep playing like that, they'll be getting another kill in no time, that's for sure. Sonar here, meanwhile, soaking up this wave, stuck under his turret, but that is a lot of plate gold going into the hands of Luna. Here's some solo plate gold, solo XP, and as an ADC, you'll love to see it.
Yeah, 2 plates secured for the roam up to the top side. Sonar gets the assist on the kill. I think that they pushed in that wave fairly well prior, but there's a lot of gold being missed here under the turret as well, and you can see that just there, just showcasing a little bit of their off-screen presence. 3P with this Ezreal using the outrange capability early on to generate some nice advantages. Sonar now has that flash, so getting the kill's not going to be as easy, and Winter's about to ding level 6 too. But it's that replay of the mid lane skirmish here. The Requiem not quite enough to take down just on the side there, but Traffy actually, you know, using the Death Realm, tries to save him for a little bit, but ultimately not enough.
Yeah, Grasp coming through. The shield as well waits perfectly for it to go away. Look at that, just hops over the wall. Boom, gets pulled in. Nothing that Team Fish Taco could do. That third party could do. Everything that a Team Fish Taco could do, they did perfectly as they just waited for it and they had to watch. And you already see Limo, the moment he realizes that's happening, he's like, I'll meet you all over here at the Herald.
Yeah, and you know, you look at the minimap, right, that wave is only just getting forced into the bot lane turret, as Sonar's already around the back of blue buff, so the likelihood is that he only really missed the experience of 1 or 2 melee creeps, had it being pushed that wave in prior to roaming over, so really good timing by Sonar to get up to that top side and make the difference with the route to get that kill. But it is also worth saying that despite all that, Luna obviously got that wave of experience solo, did get that couple plating sets of gold, and is at that first item, the first item that we see completed by anybody in the game, the Essence Reaver for an Ezreal. Certainly a nice spike, not the biggest by any means, but if you're looking at items to fight around with nobody else having a first one completed, you could probably go for some skirmishes.
Yeah. Definitely. Now up in the top lane, Traffy, Lorem. Oh my god, look at that Lorem already. I think he put a little bit of fear into Traffy there. Traffy's like, okay, you gotta respect the drip, and so he does have to kind of back off a little bit.
Yeah, just make sure that you're safe, make sure that you're alive, never anything wrong with that. Interestingly, going to take a quick look at some of the build paths. Obviously, that Hex Drinker has already paid a few bits of dividends for Lorem early on. Limo also opting into the Luden's Echo up against 3 to 4 squishy members. Certainly not a bad call.
Ooh, but stepping out right there might have been a bad one. Limo taking a lower, and down he goes. Once again, the Cyclone doing so much work, and just the synergy coming out from Munchie, and it's just knock-up after knock-up, and there's nowhere that they can go, and Munchie is probably just, they're going to go ahead and just grab this drag. Should be pretty free. You see that Lunar has Sonar stuck under the turret. It's just going to keep him there, and maybe even a solo kill coming out from Messages here. That was looking dirty, but can't quite.
He's got flash.
No, Toasty, don't come back into it. The camera, please, no. We don't get to see the kill. But ultimately, we do get to see a bit of a scuffle coming out from Sonar and Lunar here. Oh, the Rec Room does come out. I don't think it'll be enough damage. Super Mega Death Rocket won't connect, and Lunar gets out alive.
Okay, so really nice play in the mid lane. Justin Message is able to come out on top, get a 2v1 kill in the mid up against Toasty, who also just had no flash, not quite able to get out to safety. And then down in the bot side, Sonar and Winter trying to capitalize on the isolated AD carry. Not able to find the kill, but able to burn both summoners, so a slight win in their book. Now looking for some plates. Munchie doesn't have Cyclone. They're going to call Limo down as well. There's going to be a lot of gold going their way.
Yep, Rift Herald does get spawned up. Munchie, incredibly low, needs to be very careful here. Going to try and stop the Rift, but it's just nothing that they can do. Going to crash in. 2 plates go on over to Team Fish Taco, and they take the gold and leave.
Okay, so yeah, large chunk of gold thrown in there to Sonar, to Limo, 2 of the carries that we're looking to this game. Fortunately for Team Fish Taco, they do sort of have carries everywhere. You've got 4 with a Lulu to buff them all up. It's certainly going to have a large impact on how target selection is selected, I suppose, for particularly Traffy in this game, right? The impact of a Death Realm really can change the tides of a team fight if you try and take, the one hyper carry into the Death Realm. And if you can win that 1v1, you can, like I say, alter the course of a team fight for the good. Alternatively, you take, a rather insignificant member potentially into a team fight, one who's been set a bit further behind. You could well be in trouble.
Yeah, opportunities, and Toasty might have just found one here as well. A lot of damage coming out from the bomb. Got that lethal tempo stacked, but Messages just a bit too tanky. Is going to be able to get out of that one. That Everfrost extra HP is keeping him alive and not going to be forfeiting those Dark Seal stacks over at any time.
Okay, giving the first brick as well then goes to Luna based off of all the little chip damage that the Ezreal Rakan have been able to pump out, all of those wayward roams from Sonar and Winter and the occasional force back to base. Ezreal continuing to build up that advantage over the Jinx. Got, 25 CS lead first brick gold as well. You can see that there is a slight item disparity between the 2 of them as he comes back out onto the map. And looks like it's actually going to be Luna shifting into the mid lane, trying to continue to build up leads and build up gold by taking more and more turrets.
Yeah, Traffy just a bit too slow to stop Sonar from taking down that bot tier 1, and so that goal is definitely going to allow Sonar to slowly but surely make his way back into this fighting position. Now, I will say respect actually to Limo though, picking up that Dark Seal as well, right? He had 1 stack earlier, did end up going down, but I love to see the confidence.
Yeah, you can't really discredit them all that much for going for the Karthus Dark Seal. I mean, if you're never in the team fights and you just use your ulti from afar, that's how you generate the stacks. The issue comes when you get to those late game team fights where you think, I can get some pretty good value out of my passive here if I walk in and die. And then you start to lose stacks like that. So we'll see which way round Limo ends up playing out this game. Karthus ulti, I'd say generally as a tool, is best used prior to team fights. The issue that they're going to run into this time round is that just likely going to be able to stop things. And I assume quite like this one.
Yep, does get dropped down as they realize that the third party is looking to start up this Herald. Health bars not taking too considerably little from it, but it's still something to kind of spook them a little bit. But now, looking maybe for the collapse here. Lunar doing a lot of damage. Traffy going to be gatekeeping this choke point right here. And there we go. Okay, Rift Herald goes into the hands of third party. They are going to secure that. And now Team Fish Taco looking for something here. Mid turret is still up at the moment, so they can't quite run at them just yet. They need to get rid of that turret first. Open up the map a little bit if they want to find those engagements.
Yeah, that's a a great example for me of what you want to do with a Carf Assault. Unfortunately, there was nobody there to really try and punish at that given moment. But Limo still, you know, quite happy to whip those out. If anything, it's a lot of first strike gold that you get from using the Requiem. You know, there's nothing going to be going on the map for potentially a little bit. It feels like, hey, I can just use that Requiem and get a little bit of extra gold funneled in. There's a Cloud Drake spawning, but if Team Fish Taco don't want to fight for it, then hey, they don't need that tool.
Yeah, and besides, when you pop the Requiem, right, and if all goes to plan and you get that ace, that's still 5 assists, that's still 5 stacks on your Dark Shield. Do that twice, you're sitting pretty on a good 10 stacks, and you didn't even need to necessarily sacrifice yourself for it.
Exactly. All of these little things that we can, you know, attribute to the decision making. Either way, Team Fish Tacos still with that 300 gold lead. It really has been a very tight game, still fairly slow paced as imagined.
Oh, the Everfrost just barely missing, but so much damage coming out the flash and the ulti from Winter to escape. Very close, and that's 2 things coming. Actually, I think the heal was dropped as well, so Winter really had to pop the entire kit to escape from messages, and they're going to be utilizing that disadvantage now in order to push this mid wave. Down goes the mid tier 1. The wall of pain does get dropped, stopping the minions, and so now it's only the Richter. Can they stop it in time, though? It's not looking too likely. They won't. It'll crash in, do a bit of damage, and go down.
Messages is having a very good game on this Taliyah. Can't understate this enough that at the minute, this Taliyah has been finding the picks, setting up 3P for success. And we highlighted that the mid lane was going to be our matchup to watch coming into the game. And I think that so far, Messages has done a very good job at showing off as to why. I need to see if that can continue through the rest of the game. Obviously, Toasty playing this Tristana is looking for a more ramping up style of play, opting into the split push style for the moment, and may well be able to take a second turret. Tristana, a very good demolitionist of those turrets with the satchel, and may well be able to take down a second one with the support of Winter.
Yeah, ooh, look, those Messages, definitely not going to let him do it without a fight. It's going to clear that minion wave. And I feel like also during that Rift Herald push is kind of, we saw what we talked about in the draft, right, where Team Fish Taco kind of lack that really big frontliner engage. We saw that really everyone from Team Fish Taco needed to kind of back off. No one wanted to really step up first. Obviously, you don't want to run into a 2-0 Taliyah who is going to do so much damage, and same with the 1-0 Ezreal. But regardless, we're still kind of, I feel like, seeing the consequences of that.
More first strike gold.
Yeah, get the money, baby.
gotta make sure that he's grabbing that cash, getting as much as possible. The issue is that, you know, well, Traffy's got the W, so he can pretty much absorb all that. I imagine Luna's got lifesteal from the rune choices. Messages was in base and smited, so all of that damage has pretty much been subsided already. Nevertheless, like we say, get that first strike gold in general. The issue that I want to draw to your attention is for Team Fish Taco and their composition in general that we mentioned. They want to obviously let the team walk into them. If they don't have control around objectives, if they're not there first, there is zero pressure for third party to walk into this team. And if that is in a situation, for example, where they're behind, you expect 3P to be able to set up control around objectives very easily. Now Limo could be in a little trouble, the red buff not even able to be secured by that Mega Death Rocket, so you know, they're starting to slowly lose out, but the gold is still telling a very different story. The issue becomes, can they force those fights to showcase how much gold they have?
Yeah, and I feel like that's why we're also seeing third party just pressuring so much in this fog of war, being so aggressive, trying to get in as deep as they can, because they need to get that vision down. They don't want to be caught with their pants down, just like Toasty over here, and he's looking pretty toasty or burnt, dare I say, from Munchie as he gets taken out.
Okay, so another isolated incident here, and 3P are going to look to capitalize on it as it was Munchie in the top lane with the weird stick that takes down Toasty, and finding a turret on the off the back of it. It's going to be traded back for one in the mid lane, so I guess that this cross map plays the wise movements from Team Fish Taco, able to find themselves a little bit of a bit of recompense, a nice little answer, more so than anything else. But they need to try and do a little bit more than that.
Yeah, I'm trying to imagine, like, you pull up to the crime scene, it's like a detective, the witness said that she was beaten to death with a weird bendy wooden stick. Very like what? I'd be looking. I'm like, what?
Yeah,
a monkey too. Like,
yeah,
what?
exactly. And the worst thing was it wasn't humanoid.
Yeah. Oh my god. Okay, but that being said, we got a little. Okay, the question coming out here from what's a fun fact about you, and Munchie has the answer for us, and that is, I think creative writing is fun. I never want to see this guy at a party anymore.
Well, no, he's happy with us to make the narrative of Monopoly. He's probably enjoying this, watching back.
True.
And I said Monopoly. I didn't mean Monopoly. It's Cluedo, isn't it?
Yeah. I was about to say I was like a weird choice, but I'll roll with it.
It's Cluedo, Rude. Come on, man. Know your board games. Is Cluedo in America?
Clue? Yeah. Yeah. It is.
Okay. Because I feel like there are probably a lot of board games that just don't translate. Maybe they do.
Yeah,
Maybe
probably.
they're the one thing.
That would be something. Overall, though, not too much going down right now, which is allowing us to talk about board games right now. I do want to ask you, though, if you're on the side of Team Fish Taco, what's the move right now?
Not this.
Hold up. Yeah, not this. Indeed, the Red Cone getting dropped down, and down goes Winter. They almost find Sonar as well, but Sonar able to get over the wall with the flash. The Ghost coming out as well. We're seeing that Ghost being popped a lot, but not in a very offensive manner, more of a defensive one, and that is just kind of not what you want to see. That Super Mega Death Rocket almost taken out just there, but he is going to get out of that one alive.
Yeah, almost find the kill. It's more so, I guess, a tempo reset more so than anything else. You stop them from being able to get out immediately, and it forces the Weaver's Wall from messages. They would have liked to have used that reset to get down to this bot lane and catch the wave. Instead, they have to use that ulti, and I think that's probably the first time that we've seen messages utilize it. At least it is the first time we've seen it. Maybe the first time it's been used sort of proactively to get some gold or what have you. As a Lord, that's a Shadow Limo stealing.
Indeed. And I feel like that's probably the first time we've really needed to see it come out in the first place, right? I mean, honestly, third party have been just doing an exceptional job of just being on time where they need to be. The roams have been perfect. Just all the rotations that have been coming out from them have been very clean. And overall, though, it's looking to me like they're going to give the Baron, actually. They're going to give the Dragon and take the Baron out.
Really smart. You can see that Team Fish Taco, they know they have to be setting up around objectives. They set up around the Dragon. Unfortunately, 3P just say, hey, you know what? You can have it. One Cloud Drake. We do not care. Blue Ward goes out. They now know, can they get there in time? Super Mega Death Rocket stalls, but the Baron's already gone and 3P complete. What is a very nice map move.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to set up a joke and be like, well, isn't the Cloud Drake maybe worth it? But I can't even say that as a joke without like just looking like an idiot. So I'm not even gonna go there. It's really just self-explanatory. But Team Fish Taco, at the very least, will also utilize the fact that some of the members of third party back to go ahead and secure themselves that turret. Meanwhile, though, in this mid lane, Limo, the slowest member of the group, gets singled out in the death realm, and he is dead indeed. Oh,
catch him!
Huge ult coming out from Aloran, though, and that fearing did punch off Munchie, though. This might be huge. Maybe the tournament that they needed. Indeed, they grabbed themselves one. They will actually find another member of third party, but now Winter and Solar are the only two left standing. They have to back off. And so overall, it looked like they were about to turn this thing around, but not quite.
You know, overall for Team Fish Taco in isolation, that fight itself isn't too bad. They get rid of two Barons, but the issue now being they're going to lose their mid lane inhibitor. They're obviously not too happy about that. Instead, they're going to lose their mid lane inhibitor turret. 3P don't push, don't overextend too far. And this is that replay of the team fight. Now, all credit to Limo for the amount of lay wastes he's able to land and actually sets up for the Mordekaiser to fall here. But overall, a very good engage. It's actually Munchie that sets this one up, and then just actually buying enough time there, uses the stopwatch, uses the charm. Granted, the knock-up doesn't land, but finding the the backline access, getting the charm off, stalling up Winter, stalling Sonar, so that damage can't come through, was exactly what was needed, and actually gave the time for just to get out to safety.
Yep, and so slowly but surely the defenses of Team Fish Taco are whittling down. They don't have that tier 3 anymore in the mid lane. That inhibitor is exposed. A lot of the lanes though are still pushing in their favor, as we have been seeing just a lot of the split pushing coming out from them, but you can already see that Munchie is in that bot lane looking to rectify that problem.
And this is where the fact that they don't, or that they lost Baron on a couple of members, is actually going to be very beneficial to Team Fish Taco, right? You can't use the Wukong now to split push. You can't use Traffy to split push as effectively, necessarily. You can still use them, but they don't have that Baron.
Yeah.
Team Fish Taco's making a very interesting call right here. They're going to lose that mid lane inhibitor that they should have lost about 5 seconds ago off the last play, in exchange for getting a lot of gold off that top lane tier 2 turret.
Yep, Munchie messages in this bot lane. Now that now the messages here, I should say, that Baron buff is going to empower those minions, and they are going to go ahead, take out that turret. Top lane, though, the minion wave from Team Fish Taco is slowly but surely moving in. It's going to release some of that pressure.
Yeah, and overall, right, this was a cognizant move by Team Fish Taco. They're like, okay, if we get Sonar to enough items, this Jinx at some point will be able to carry. Very, you know, sound logic, sound reasoning. We have a Lulu, we have two hyper carries. Why not set them up to succeed? The question is whether or not they can get there in time, and make those plays happen early enough and, you know, get that gold back in their pockets with enough time to spare. Because right now, 3-item mid lane, a 3-item ADC, and really wise itemization from Luna as well. Got that Warden's Mail in the inventory, meaning that both Sona and Toasty are going to have a bit of a harder time taking down this Ezreal.
Yeah, speaking of itemization, actually might have to wait because Alorum actually is able to still dash over the wall there. Wall of Pain won't allow Just to move in. But are you surprised at all that we see the Prowler's Claw coming up from Lunar here?
No, not really. There's very little tank stats from Team Fish Taco in general, and you're not buying the Prowler's Claw to, you know, claw onto people.
I hope not.
It is just for that start. It is for those stats, so I'm quite happy that the lethality comes through. Going to have that little extra bonus too.
Yep, Alorum trying to do his best to defend this turret, try to find something, but he just can't step up to it. The turret does go down. Oh my god, yeah, he's hitting like a truck right now with that. Top tier 2 is going to go down as well, and surely, slowly but surely I should say, or maybe not even necessarily slowly, rather quickly, the defenses of Team Fish Taco are just being fallen one by one.
Okay, no Baron for 1 minute 40, but nevertheless 3P able to just use their sheer force, this 3-item Talia spike to force people off of turrets, take their own tier 2. Drake spawning in 30 seconds. It is going to be that window where we look to Team Fish Taco and say, are you going to set up for this play? Do you want to try and take this fight? Because they are so disadvantaged in those items, and you expect them to say the answer's no. We need a little bit more time. We don't have our Infinity Edges on our 2 hyper carries just yet. We probably want to wait a little bit before we go for that skirmish, before we go for that all-out fight. And with 3P not on soul point right now, they have got that time to just go, you know what, we'll wait 5 more minutes. The issue then becomes, do 3P look to just say, well, we'll take this dragon and then we'll start to force a Baron after?
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to say, it's like they're asking for time, but they're on borrowed time already, right? You see third party, they're in every lane, pushing hard, looking to get these advantages. And yeah, like you're saying, they are going to give that dragon over, actually trying to steal it with the super mega death rocket, but it lands just a bit too late. Not going to find anything there, and so that's going to be a free dragon in the hands of third party.
Interested what messages buys here. Could have gone for the book, but didn't. Went for a needlessly large rod instead. Fair enough. Fair dues, but would have been nice to see a Medjai's come through. Can't lie, can't lie. True. Now that question is, like we mentioned, what do third party do with their time now? They've got 5 minutes before their soul spawns, and they've got about 20-30 seconds until the Baron spawns. You imagine all attention's turned toward that top side. Let's get Team Fish Taco's red side lit up like a Christmas tree and try and find somebody caught out. We can use Just, we can use Munchie, our 2 big engage sources, and have Messages and Luna try and follow up.
Yeah, they have Alorum in that bot side, going to force someone to respond, and it is going to be traffic, but both top laners having that TP available means that they will be able to get up to that Baron if need be the moment that it is up, and already Messages and Munchie are going to be the first responders here looking to clear some vision. Actually not even going to bother. They'll just send Just to do that as we see the start coming out, but that one ward, now they know that Messages and Luna are on it, so Team Fish Taco, if they want to make a move, they have to do it now. The Requiem being dropped, Munchie going to go gold so he didn't take too much damage. Maybe that's the opening that they need. He's coming out as well. Can they get the Baron? No, they're not going to be able to steal it, but maybe they can steal the Baron buff from some of the members of third party. Let's see the cycle coming down onto Toasty though, but just doesn't do the damage they're looking for. Alorum, meanwhile, on the top lane is going to go down, and now look on this bot side, the Polymorph coming out actually onto Trappy, and that is huge. That buys so much time for Team Fish Taco to back off, and look at that. They are going to leave Winter to the Wolves. Will go down, and now Limo, Sonar, and Toasty, they're looking to go somewhere, but look at that, the stone wall. They've been boxed in. You can't go anywhere anymore except into the ground. Sonar goes down, and the rest of Team Fish Taco eat the dirt.
3P with a beautiful play. They get the Baron, and those items just weren't there for Team Fish Taco. ADC sat on components. Messages boxes them in and sets them up for the slaughter. Munchie with some great stalling and the game #1. Third party start themselves off beautifully, and they get exactly what they needed. Messages with a great performance from the mid lane, gonna do the work on these turrets.
Absolutely. We said that it was time for Messages to step up to the plate and show us how to get things done, and I dare to say that third party are the main characters this time around.
And they did a very good job, Messages, in that case, setting up for success. Those early picks largely off the back of the Talia setup, and that top tier 2 as well. We really got to see what this Talia could perform and what they could do. But, you know, we sort of questioned what the route, what the strategy would be for Team Fish Taco. For them, it was a fairly slow-paced game. Unfortunately, they were just a little bit too slow, and overall, just one great move toward the Baron, right? We touched on it. The first Baron that got taken down was pretty much uncontested. It was just one good move from third party, and it set them up for the game.
Yeah, absolutely. We saw so much good synergy as well coming out from Justice Rakan, right? With the Wukong, that double knock up Shazam. There's just nothing that they could do against it. Beautiful rotations coming out as well. And I'm not going to lie, I'm getting a little worried about my prediction right now. I'm shaking a little bit, just a little bit. I can still have faith. But that was a very stellar performance. And if third party keeps that up, things are looking grim for Team Fish Taco.
Yeah, not looking good. I really think that TFT, they're going to need to try and go back to the drawing board for their game plan, see if they can opt into a few different things. I know that their pockets certainly go a lot deeper, so maybe they'll opt into something different.
Absolutely. And so when you go to Chipotle, you don't get one taco, you get 3. So we might still have 3 games in total. And so we'll throw it to a quick break. And when we're back, we will get into Giraffe for game number 2. Don't go anywhere.